How's it going, everyone? First off, my apologies about the noise in the background. It might get a little loud. It's the weekend. Apparently we need to do stuff. Anyway, first thing, it's going to be make a real quick video. And it's going to be about belts and general aftermarket nonsense. So let's go ahead and get started right away. Warning though, there is a lot of talking. There's not a whole lot of working. But this is going to be important information to kind of prevent unneeded money being wasted. So we're gonna have a savings here. So sit down, grab a drink, and let's get chatting. So I work with various landscapers, and the landscapers are paid by time. Time is money to them. So when they need to mow something, they usually try to get it done as quickly as possible. 30-inch mower is a perfect in between, a good well-rounded machine. It's large, it's not too heavy, it's not a rider, it's not going to leave divots or dents in or wet lawn, stuff like that. So the problem is those, they require certain parts, and one of them is belts. So a customer of mine came in and said, hey, I have a belt I need to replace. Can you replace it? Yeah, sure, I'll go get the belt. And he's like, oh no, it's okay, I already have it. And I'm like, are you sure? And I'm like, is there a number on the belt? And he says, yeah, it is 1215765. And having replaced so many of these in the past, I know off the top of my head that is the right number. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So this is what he gave me. And then while he was in my driveway, I was looking at him, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's going on. Like, where did you get him? He's like, off the internet. And the first thing I started to think about was like red flags. I'm like, oh no, they're don't do that. But he showed me the link, and it says genuine OEM belts. Okay, sure. So I looked at it, and I'm like, well, something's fishy about this belt, I mean, it's not even cut straight. And literally the listing was on Amazon and said OEM belt. I thought it was going to be an OEM one. I thought it was a little cheap, but whatever. This is the belt I go and buy when I go to my local supplier. And if you look at it, 1215765, same thing, except there's a couple important differences. Hecho in Mexico, or made in Mexico, sorry for my horrible pronunciation for that, that's normal. Now if we look at the back of this, made in China, that's not normal. So even though this was marketed like an OEM belt, and from the looks of it, is a fairly okay looking-ish type of belt, there's some key differences. One, you're going to notice the color is oddly different. Two, can you tell the size is different? This is a type of belt that you would be replacing. Almost, or maybe not. I mean, it's getting thin. It's getting worn out. This has to be at least 1/8 of an inch thicker. Okay. The depth appears to be about right. They're about the same size, but this one, you can just feel is heavy and quality. I mean, it's just the way it needs to be. This belt will last a long, long time. This belt, I put it, the one he gave me 2 of these packages, and I put 2 of them in, and because he brings some stuff routinely, so I just kept these on the side, and a week later, this belt broken. I told him, dude, don't even bother. I'm gonna go, the place is literally down the street, I almost could walk there, and I'm just gonna buy belts. So that's what I did. I usually keep about 3 or 4. Here's the main difference as well. This belt cost me, I believe, $9. There's no tax where I live, so just $9. This 2-pack of these belts costs $8. I mean, that's a savings, don't get me wrong. But is it really saving you money if you're going to go through 2 belts faster than 1 belt? No, it's a waste of money. So, point of the story is be very, very careful where you get your belts. Get them from reputable locations. When I mean reputable, I mean good websites are known for OEM parts. I personally like partstree.com. That's just my preference. E-Replacement Parts is also a great location. I just have an account with Partstree, and it's just easier for me to navigate their website for me personally, so I just use them. Amazon is okay. Don't get me wrong. If you are in the market for aftermarket anything, and you know it's aftermarket, then that's fine. I have no issues with that because you know it's aftermarket. He did not know. In fact, he was specifically misled that this is an OEM belt. Should have known when he first opened it. I mean, I should have known when I first opened it too, that when I saw it made in China, I'm like, that's not right. Point of the story is, when it comes to like belts, I would never, ever, ever, ever recommend getting a aftermarket belt. They are cheap, especially if they're like the cheap rubber ones. I can't tell you how many times someone tried to save a buck or two and brought me especially riding mower belts, brought me a riding mower belt that they bought on Amazon. It was like $13 compared to if you went to like Tractor Supply or partstree.com and got the real belt, or the dealer, or anywhere else that's reputable. Then the belt would look completely different. It wouldn't be black. It'd probably be some type of Kevlar. It would be, it would just be the OEM style belt. Even if it's not the OEM style belt, as long as it has a lot of the same traits and qualities of the OEM, I'm even okay with that. If it's just some other brand, I'm okay with that. But as long as it's a high quality one. And cheap aftermarket stuff, not going to work. So don't do that. Like I said, there's things you can buy aftermarket. Carburetors are one, but you're going to be running a risk. So it's really a risk versus reward scenario. It's usually small carburetors, like in 2 cycles. They're not too bad. Larger stuff, you're kind of getting into realm of questionability. But stuff for like 5-6 horsepower Hondas or Briggs or anything like that, especially since Briggs now is even made in China, their aftermarket parts, I mean, they're practically made next door, so I've never really had a problem with that. So just know, let me put a rule out there. Consumables probably shouldn't be aftermarket. Air filters might be an exception to that, but you're kind of running the risk of, did they really do the right type of air filter? I don't know. It's kind of sketchy. I mean, they are cheap, don't get me wrong, but as long as you get a decent aftermarket one, it should be fine. It's better than running no filter. So if you have a chance, if I was given the opportunity to have no filter or aftermarket one, I'm going to choose aftermarket one every time. So be on the lookout for cheap aftermarket crap such as these belts. Never buy them. And specifically, if you have a 30-inch mower, never buy this one, because, like I said, less than a week later, it just was shredded. It's just garbage. 100%. So I'm not going to be using these. I'm probably just going to throw them away, to be honest. And I'm just going to keep my good belts. I really don't go through a whole lot of these because they do last a long time. I probably will buy 10 to 15, and I'll just keep 3 or 4 on hand, and when I get down to like 1, I'll just buy 2, 3 more, and that's it. If you do this, might be a good idea, depending on how many you change, of course, depending what your flow is. But for me, that's usually keeps it pretty well stocked in my situation. So a little bit of a interesting topic today, but definitely consider not buying stuff like this, because you're just going to be causing yourself headache. And if you're going to be doing this for other people, you're going to be causing them headaches too. So keep that in mind. I'm going to leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, put a thumbs up because that helps me out a lot. And consider subscribing. I do videos at least a few times a week, so hopefully you can have a little enjoyment out of it. Have a good night.